squad. Lissandra banned there for Royal, Nah banned there for lead again, and we'll reset for the Game 2 draft.
Yeah, and we mentioned that Spirit, he's looking to grab that J4, of course. He had a fairly decent game, maybe got out-rotated a couple of times by Insect. That kick into the team fight in the mid lane really did cost them the game probably in the end, but STYZ was probably the bright spot for me in a very bad lane matchup, was able to go fairly even, got himself into a good position, but when your team crumbles around you the way that it happened, it's very hard to carry as a blue Ezreal.
Yeah, we've got Rumble banned there as well, and I actually think that might be beneficial for World Elite. No offense to Aluka, he's a great player, but when Ninja and Aluka get on their comfort champions, it feels like World Elite have to draft around them, and it's just, when you have players that just kind of play safe, you can't really set up your big carries here, which honestly is Spirit and STYZ.
Yeah, exactly right. And you mentioned that if Spirit has to play that tanky initiator, it takes a lot away from his playmaking ability. And when we see mages in the top lane for World Elite, that's exactly what happens. Spirit feels like he has to be the one that starts everything off, and Aluka just wasn't able to get as much work done.
I mean, Aluka, just play Maokai. Maokai's been great today in the LPL, and we saw Cola there in the last game play it as well, looking fantastic. So we'll see what happens here. World Elite definitely need to maybe tighten up some of their drafting. I feel like that's the biggest issue for this team right now. But Fizz has been banned by them for their second ban, and we're waiting on Royal's third, but they're actually taking their time this time around.
Yeah, they certainly are looking at what they want to take away. I definitely agree. Like, play the Maokai. At the end of the day, I just want World Elite to play a pick comp. Like, they feel so much better when they are playing from ahead. So set up your early game for a very strong power spike. Be able to take one person off the map, exactly how Starhorn Royal Club did last game, and then just take the game from there. If you build small advantages, you don't need to have a massive wombo combo.
Yeah, absolutely, Kira. The last ban was Jarvan for Royal with Rek'Sai there for World. Pretty standard jungle bans there on this patch, and Royal are going to lock in the Kassadin here, one of the strongest champions on this patch, especially in the LPL.
Yeah, and Spirit needs to be careful here, because if they lock in the Lee Sin, it guarantees that Insect will get Rengar, and Rengar Kassadin is an absolutely terrifying pick comp.
Yeah, great mobility there as well, just able to pick people off from long range and just be the super mobile carries that they can be, especially Kassadin, who again has seen so much success here in the LPL. I like that we already have the Thresh here as well. That is more of the pick style strategy here, and very curious to see what it is, and it is actually the Lee Sin for Spirit.
Yeah, it's the Lee Sin coming through, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do actually see Rengar, but wow, Insect has swapped over to Ghost, meaning that Olaf pick might actually be legit.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It looks like Zero might get his genre as well, which would be a big takeaway, but I do prefer a champion like Thresh, I think, on a player like UJ, just to be able to make a bit more plays and be proactive for his team. Insect, yeah, could play Olaf. He's definitely played a lot of different junglers in his time, and be curious to see what he wants to pick up here.
Yeah, certainly would be interesting if he did pick Olaf. We've seen him come a little bit more into competitive play, but looks like he's moved away from that one. I do like the fact that World Elite, with those two first picks, are guaranteeing a pick comp. When you play a Lee Sin, if you get a hook in there, you are able to kick people in, and wow, Kalista locked in for well.
Yeah, well played fantastically on Kalista yesterday, looking very comfortable in that champion. It is the Rengar there for Insect as well.
Yeah, so I really like the composition that comes out of Starhorn Royal Club here, able to throw a support in there, get all the lockdown CC out of Insect's Rengar and blow up one single target, and from there, the persistent damage that comes out of Kalista means that she suits both sides of the composition well, with the team fight phase and also with the picks.
Yeah, so we'll see what World Elite want to take for their last two picks here as well. They've got a pretty interesting core setup so far. You already mentioned the pick comps ready to go here with the Lee Sin and Thresh to start things off. We mentioned Maokai for Aluka be a fine pick up here, and this will be a very set plan for World Elite, which is what I want to see in their drafting here, and it is going to be Maokai Tristana.
Yeah, so it looks like once again they've got that CC to lock one person down, very mobile carry that can go in and really fend for himself. So I don't mind the lineup through World Elite yet. They do need to tie it together with a good mid laner, looking for something like a LeBlanc to come out to really get that going, although does struggle against the Kassadin mid.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that Ninja just really doesn't play anything other than Xerath. We've seen, I think, play a bit of Azir as well, but for someone with a name like Ninja, doesn't play Assassins all that often, and Royal are already done. They've got Ezreal and Lulu as their last two picks, so very interesting team comp now.
Yeah, so potentially a Lulu support coming through. It will actually be a Lulu support unless they take like Kassadin in there or something. So looking to throw a Lulu into a team and then bounce people up again, that could be a pretty devastating combo coming through. Will be a mid lane Ezreal, and we've seen missed success out of mid lane Ezreal. Does go the tier into Trinity Force build most of the time that we spoke about last game, but there will be a lot of pressure, especially if against a poke heavy mid laner like Xerath again, because Ezreal can't push out away, struggles without his ultimate to really clear out those creeps, and does take a while to get going.
And this I would love to see from Ninja, and he does do it. Cassiopeia is the pick that he wants to go over here, and this is much more proactive for Ninja, much more carry potential.
Yeah, it certainly is a lot more carry potential and has the ability to go toe-to-toe and persistent damage with an AD carry mid. So I definitely do like the pickup. Needs to be careful for the first couple of levels, but once he starts ranking up that E, he's going to be terrifying.
Yeah, and Spirit here on Lee Sin, a very strong early pressure-based jungler. He can help support these lanes. Cassiopeia is at her weakest when she's getting ganked by the jungle without her flash in the early levels. On Spirit, if he can keep the level of control that he's known for, especially on a champion like Lee Sin, this is a winning recipe for World Elite.
Yeah, it certainly is. Does need to be careful of Rengar in the mid lane, especially around warding in the brushes. Rengar can really set up some pretty cool ganks in that area. But I agree, they've got the recipes to have a good, solid early game and transition that into the mid game with finally a nice, big, tanky top laner.
Yeah, and ST Wising as well. He's playing Tristana, going to have that power trough that he kind of had on Blue Razor, but he already did that. And as you said, navigated that lane very well.
Yeah, he certainly did. And I think that they will go for a lane swap here just because of how much better Aluka will be able to deal with it over Cola in the top lane. So I think that plays once again into World Elite's favor. And whilst the team fight and the pick potential that comes out of Royal Club is very good, I think that they've just got a much better, well-rounded team comp.
Is that true also against Kalista, who does struggle a little bit, also scales quite well?
Yeah, I think that they still look for the lane swap in this situation just because of the fact that if you've got a Kassadin, you're not as good as in 2v1.
All right, and with that, let's get into our final game. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is our last game for the evening here. Day 2, week 4 of the LPL. Royal Club are up a game here against World Elite. And World Elite, who have struggled to get some points here, are looking at potentially another split.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to get another one on the board here, Pastry Time. And they do have a good team fighting and an early game team to be able to do it. But if Starhorn Royal Club have anything to say about it, they're probably going for a 2-0.
Yeah, I like that World Elite are putting the eggs in the correct baskets here. Spirit has to come up really big in this game, and so does STYZ on the Tris, but those are the right people to give the champions to, and Ninja as well could also backdoor some big victories with his Cassiopeia.
Yeah, he certainly will be looking to go early, bully out the AD mid laner, and they're going extremely deep pretty early.
This is what I want to see from World Elite, getting aggressive early on, setting up the level 1, looking for the lane swaps with the late wards here. Great ward from Calder as well, up towards the top side of the map, but World Elite, they're being proactive. That's what's important.
Yeah, it certainly is really important, and I think it will be key in the matchup to see who gets their early game plan. Can they scout out that early 2v1 and be able to get STYZ some free farm and scaling on Tristana? Or will Starhorn Royal Club be successful and really be able to bully these lanes?
Yeah, and it really is a battle of the junglers between these two teams. The Korean superstars in Spirit and Insec are pretty much going to go head-to-head indirectly in this particular game.
Yeah, they certainly are, and it will be interesting to see who gets the advantage because Lee Sin in a 1v1 really takes it to Rengar early. However, Rengar, the master of pick comps, lights up mid-game, and if he can get to that level 6 unharassed, can really force things to go in his favor.
And we've talked about Rengar in the LPL, has seen very little success except in the hands of Loveling and Insect, the 2 seasoned Rengar players of the league. So if anyone can make this champion work, it is an Insect favorite.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we've seen him play it very often. Actually, 2v2 lanes here, and I think this is dangerous because Lulu already does a lot of auto attack harass in the early game. You throw a Kalista W passive in on there, and that is a lot for a UJ and STYZ to deal with.
Yeah, great double glitter lance there. STYZ already under pressure with some of that damage coming through as well. That W passive really helping out with the early game harass. And we saw well play Kalista yesterday. She started to pick up speed in the LPL, but I do love this steal from Spirit.
Yeah, that is so smart, going straight away to the enemy buff. He knows that from what happened last game, Insect likes to clear one side of his jungle, get a gank off, or go back to shop and then go to the next. So taking away a buff means that he will get 3 buffed here.
Yeah, Aluka even rotating down as well just to check things out. And I'm curious to see what buff Spirit took in the early game. Did he just take a camp and go level 2?
Yeah, he certainly did just take a camp, go straight to the level 2. So able to pick that one up. Really well played.
Really nice stuff there for Spirit. And again, that's what I want from him, to get in there, get aggressive, and put the pressure on early. But bottom lane is struggling right now in the 2v2 for World Elite.
Yeah, and I mentioned this will happen because they're just so much stronger laning. Lulu's always been a great laner, just suffers from a couple of mana gating issues at the moment. Has actually picked up a mana pot to negate some of that. And Kalista early game, the W passive is it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because this is level 2, or first 2 levels, I guess. Feels very strong. Definitely gets more into the farm mode later on in the stages of the game. Spirit actually checking for Korn here in the mid lane as well. Ninja playing very safe on the cast. Pretty smart as well. You don't need to overextend as Cassiopeia. If you can, you want to bully the lane, but he's more than happy to last it under turret with Twin Fang.
Yeah, and maybe waiting for that gank was a little bit of an error because it has allowed Insect to move in on the blue buff in return, so he's going to be able to pick that one up. So after a fantastic early jungle pathing, a little bit of mistake coming out of Spirit.
Yeah, so Insect getting a bit of an early strategic outplay there after a great early bit of aggression in the jungle for Spirit. And UJ is very low in this bottom lane. Zero with a great good land snipes him off. STYZ going to get pushed back here as well. The World Elite 2v2 is not going how they planned.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. And Spirit and Insect actually nearly ran into each other there. Surprised Insect didn't stick around and try and wait for Lee Sin after he'd used that Q, but in the end just backs away, and we're going to have some farming, but the bottom lane is definitely a danger zone right now for World Elite.
Yeah, it's actually 2v1 right now for STYZ, who actually could potentially get dived. I think Spirit's almost coming down just to check for Rengar, which is very smart play. But again, the harass continues here. We've seen this from the best Kalista play as well as Insect. Going to roll in there. Hits the bowler, actually. Korn going to follow up with a good amount of damage. A good flash for Ninja to not get bowled again. But that's the flash going for Cassiopeia. That's the danger zone.
Yeah, this is very bad news because now the lane is also reversing and he's going to have to get out of there completely. In the top lane, however, Cola going extremely low.
Yeah, Aluka now turning it up on the Maokai here as well. And we've seen this time and time again from early game Maokai. He is so strong in the start of the game.
Yeah, he definitely is. What you do is you wait for your passive to come up, then you W onto the Kassadin and just punch him repetitively. And it does so much damage. Kassadin, of course, very well equipped to deal with magic damage coming out, but not so much those massive auto attacks from the tree.
Yeah, Maokai is one of the highest base 80s in the game as well, so it's such a smart way to play the early stage of your lane.
Yeah, it certainly is. Looks like Cola will be fine farming up under the turret. Might actually have to use a teleport to get back just because Aluka's got that head start, but overall, not bad. He's going to still scale up nicely into this mid game.
Yeah, Luca walking back to his tower now, so got himself a second Durance and a Ruby Crystal. Spirit going to come in, gets a good slow there onto Korn, but can't quite follow up there. That was a very aware play to Arcane Shift early.
Yeah, it certainly was. Just saw that the Cassiopeia was sitting in the middle of a minion wave, and once again, these are little tells that you find out as you go through that you just know that you're probably going to be ganked at that stage.
Yeah, STYZ, he actually farmed up nicely. Didn't have to go back with Spirit coming down to babysit him through with UJ backing off after the harass. So that's a big win actually in the bottom lane for World Elite. The fact that Trist is even in CS after that starts almost a miracle.
Yeah, really well played by STYZ. He's actually come up pretty big in this series so far. As I said, he was probably the shining light for his team last game, and the recurve bow's being picked up in the bottom lane by Well. I don't necessarily like the recurve bow first item. I think you do need a little bit of AD. Otherwise, yeah, your Ren does stack up, but you don't really do much else. And when you're dealing with a tank Maokai that's going to be diving onto you, I actually think that Blade of the Ruined King is a preferable first item.
I mean, it does signal the Hurricane build most likely as well here for Well. What do you think about that in general Kalista builds?
Yeah, I like the Hurricane on her because it does a lot of team fighting. I just think that you can get there different ways, and I think that the getting there with the Blade of the Ruined King into the Hurricanes, into the BT, actually gives you a lot of tools to survive the initial burst, and then you can hop around team fights. And she chooses turrets very, very easily to auto-attack. Very rarely as a Kalista are you committed to just auto-attacking a tank.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens here as well. We're all going to back off here. Maybe get some wards down towards the bottom half of the map here. Good sentinel there from Well Zero, looking to ward up the dragon. So Royal might look at that in the next few minutes here. Korn on the way to that Manamune as well. So possibly looking for that Trinity Force that we discussed earlier as well. Moby Bit's actually very quickly done for Insect. So if he wants to get going aggressive now, it's his time with almost level 6 done on Rengar.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's about to pick up his second buff as well. So once you get level 6, those Moby Boots and the Chilling Smite puts him in a fantastic position. He'll look towards the mid lane most likely because he's already done half the work there, blowing that flash for Ninja. So yeah, definitely in a good spot. And the lane's farming up nicely at the moment. A little bit of an advantage in the top lane for Aluka, but apart from that, everything in Starhorn Royal Club's favor.
I mean, World Elite will take most of these even lanes, but they have to be very careful around the first dragon that's looking to come out in about 2 to 5 minutes potentially, depending on how aggressive either of these teams want to be around the objective. We checked the mid as well. Ninja slightly behind, almost 10 CS. And we'll see what happens then as well. So we do a quick check at the goal, but nothing too major, it seems like.
Yeah, nothing really happening in this early game. And you're right, I think that World Elite will be happy with this. But when they get to that mid game, they need to make sure that they are able to get some work done.
And UJ actually getting aggressive onto Well there. STYZ going very far forward the heel. Gets popped there as well, but Well will flash over. Can he get more Ren stacks in there as well? That's a good play back in this ult, I believe, from STYZ. He gets in the kill now. Zero does flash out from under the rocket jump slow, so nice play there, but Trist definitely won that exchange.
Yeah, it certainly did. Both teleports coming through. First blood over onto a Tristana, and we just saw exactly what happens when you go this Hurricane build. Sure, you can auto-attack up and farm very, very nicely, but just no raw damage to be able to go toe-to-toe, even with a Tristana.
Yeah, just a bit unsafe there. And STYC's gone pretty aggressive with his early item purchase as well. Pretty much came back to lane with his BF sword and said, I'm going to fight you now.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's the right call coming through there because Hurricane, no raw stats. We spoke about if you are going to go the Hurricane build, you generally do go, there's a gank coming in bottom.
Yeah, it looks like the ult's going to try and start that off as well, but a good lantern for Yujo will keep him safe. Insect did pop his ulti, so he's not going to be able to pick that up. He's actually wrapping around, maybe looking for a dive. Does find the blue buff, actually, that Cassiopeia is doing there with Lee Sin. So Insect can steal. Spirit actually just smites him. The Sentinel will find him as well. The kick actually found him, but UJ has a good move there as well. That's going to force the flash out of Insect, but the Wild Growth already got popped by Zero. And now UJ getting low, has to dodge all of these Qs from Korn. And the blue buff's going to reset for Waterley as well. No one dead, but good pressure by Royal Club.
Yeah, force them away from the blue buff. They're going to look to continue to pressure this so UJ can't go back, and they're still wanting to fight.
Yeah, UJ did finish his recall just here, but this is going to give the blue over to possibly Kalista. Does get it, I believe, with the Rend. And they'll take it here. As long as they're denying that from Ninja, that's a big win, Royal.
Yeah, they certainly will, and they've moved straight away onto the Dragon. Great ability here from Royal Club. I actually didn't think about the synergy between the mid laner and Kalista here. Giving that extra attack speed for neutral minions is going to be huge. They pick up the first Dragon of the game.
And a very strong Dragon by Royal. They were looking to, again, get ahead in this mid-game, open up the map by taking out turrets, and then using the Rengar Cassidy to really pick people off. So Waterloo will be happy where the farm's going, but not happy to lose the first Dragon.
Yeah, definitely not. And we mentioned that they've got that big tanky top laner. They want to be able to fight before Cassidy really scales up and gives STYZ these problems. And STYZ got off to an absolute flyer. So a little bit, I guess, of a back foot. And it's so strange because Tears on both mid laners, so they're kind of going through the same slump at the same time. Catalyst on both top laners, they're kind of in the same slump. STYZ is, at this point, probably one of the stronger members on the map.
Yeah, but Well has just finished up the Hurricane now as well. It was definitely a greedy choice to rush it here, but he's going to get paid off pretty nicely now that he runs down. He doesn't really have to fight STYZ 1v1 if he doesn't want to, and these mini waves are going to melt now.
Yeah, he definitely has good pushing potential, and that will allow him to rotate around the map, I guess, a little bit more. But STYZ, as soon as he hits that Infinity Edge, is going to have an advantage in the lane, and I think that maybe he doesn't have to fight STYZ, but STYZ will try and force.
Yeah, and we saw that earlier as well in World League. Got very aggressive in the bottom side of the map. I guess curious to see where Well goes with his build and where the Infinity Edge comes in for STYZ, because that time is pretty crucial. Aluka, though, still bullying Kohler, actually ahead on CS on this Mako, trying to keep the Cassidy down. Yeah,
repetitively just trading with his passive, getting in there and going nice and aggressive. Actually calls up a gank from his mid and jungle at the moment. Actually, mid lane just warding out there, so looking to see if they can dive Kohler. Difficult task, it's a Cassidy.
Yeah, Insect here as well, so Rengar looking for the counter gank now as well. Kohler is low, but Spirit going to be patient. Rengar backs off. Cassidy does the same, and that might just give the lane over here. Waterloo, if they knew, could start to fast push, but Spirit's waiting. He wants this gank.
Yeah, he certainly does, and Insect has actually moved in here. Needs to be careful he doesn't get dove.
No, he might be the one that gets ganked, actually. It's a much easier target, and Insect's like, yeah, okay, don't really want this at all. Runs away. Aluka proxies the wave now as well, and that could give Waterloo them the first turret of the game.
Yeah, it certainly could, and we mentioned how they lost the Dragon, but if they pick up the first turret, that is a big gold lead, probably about 2,000 in their favor at this point in the game. So they're in a nice position to start taking this one over. Aluka's turned the top lane on its head. He's 20 CS into the advantage.
Yeah, and Mako seems to be the story of the top lane today. He's done very well, and I think every game that he's played in, he's been played quite a bit here. Zero going to get harassed. That's a good hook there, but Well, they're going instantly. A great Wild Growth, though, but Well is so low, and there's the Hurricane. You just can't fight here. Oh, what the earth happened there? Zero disappeared into Kalista Ultimate after he'd already died. STYZ going to get aggressive, but Will Lantern away, and Zero just can't really do anything else.
Yeah, and 2 kills for STYZ on this Tristana, and once again, I don't think that Kalista has a choice whether she fights or not. The rocket jump can come in for the slow, Buster Shot can reposition, and overall, really well played from UJ here to get it started this time around, but I think they can continue to force in this bottom lane.
I mean, if you ever get hooked as a Kalista, it probably feels like the worst thing ever with all the hops that you have, but UJ finally nails one there, and may well pay for the, again, very greedy Kalista build. Oh, Korn does get tagged. But Spirit doesn't really want to go in onto the Ezreal. Very slippery team actually here for Royal Club.
Yeah, so around the map, Royal Club actually starting to fall slowly behind. Korn may be the only member still grasping onto any form of a lead, and Insec hasn't really been able to make much happen with this Rengar pick so far.
Yeah, Spirit getting in with a Luca, trying to steal away the blue as well. Ninja will actually come in to try and take it. Korn, though, going to poke them off it with his Qs there as well from the Ezreal. Insect's also already altered, I believe, and running up the top as well. Now Kohler going to dive in. That's a good true shot barrage. Luca going to get jumped, but a great ulti there by Ninja. Insect going to get eaten alive there, and a Luca flashes out there. It's not enough to keep him alive, but Kohler's going to go down. A good flash from Spirit. He just lives there after that Q, and now Ninja going to chase him, but Zero's up here as well. Uday also joining in. He's going to lantern out. Ninja should be safe, but Ninja wants the kills, and that's a great trade, World Elite.
Yeah, World Elite coming out ahead there by 1 kill. A very close thing, but a clutch Cassiopeia ult turns that one around. We mentioned the Kassadin Rengar combo. We saw it in full effect there, but onto the tankiest member. Maybe a little bit of a mix-up in target prioritization.
Yeah, and STYZ's got his static shift done now. He's going to see a replay.
Yeah, so they go in, but it's onto a Luca, and you just see how long he stays alive because of that passive, able to continue to dance around. And meanwhile, in the background, Ninja just doing so much damage. Spirit lives on a slither of health, and once Ninja gets out of there as well, that was a lot blown on a very, very tanky top laner.
Yeah, and as we return to the bottom lane as well, Well has really nothing else apart from his Hurricane, just a measly Doran's Blade on top of it. And STYZ massive right now on this Triss, beating Kalista now in CS here. Static Shiv and the BF sword already done. If STYZ is going to hard carry this game, he's been set up very well to do so.
Yeah, he certainly has. He is in a position to do work on this Tristana, even in a mid game. So that's probably the best they could have hoped for. They really need to get Insec in there with a very good Rengar initiation and dodge that Cassiopeia ult. I actually think that Ninja is the priority target right now to engage upon and really try and blow them up with that Ezreal ultimate coming through. Looks like it might be a blue Ezreal build. Can't tell, of course, just because it's only been the Sheen picked up, but I would be surprised just because there's not very many auto attackers coming out apart from that Tristana, and I think just a superior build in that Trinity Force.
Yeah, STYZ going to try and deny as many CS as possible. Finds a pink ward actually off to the side, and we'll take it out here. But we'll respond by killing the Trinket ward there as well. But that tower's going to go down. Wardlet will claim its gold. And they're set up very nice here. Actually, a little lead of 3,000 gold.
Yeah, and might actually be able to equalize the Dragons in 15 seconds. So they're in a good position this time round. Once again, a lot of pressure on Starhorn Royal Club to win this 2-0.
Pretty curious about Ninja's item choice here as well. Let's go for a very quick Archangels.
Yeah, it does give the tankiness that you do need as a frontliner. It also doesn't have as much downtime as the roller into the Archangel, so I don't mind the early pickup.
It's just, I mean, right now as it's charging up, it's not the most effective purchase, but he's going to charge it very quickly now. And the first Dragon does go to World Elite. True Chopper rides in, but cannot snipe that away at all. And things are looking good here for World Elite. They're navigating their power troughs well. And Aluka has made a very aggressive decision here with his item, but he's got a righteous glory.
Yeah, he definitely has, and once again, this is a mid-game spike they're looking for. He has been engaged on.
Yeah, Luca has been found out by Kohler and Insec. Insec jumps on top of him, and Luca does not have his flash, so can't really do anything but stand and fight. No one there to maybe help him. Righteous Glory pops. Ninja actually here as well, and Aluka just so tanky.
Yeah, so many abilities coming out of Insect's Rengar there was actually healing Aluka nearly with those auto attacks from the passive, so able to survive and kite that one out. And once again, I just don't understand why they're continuing to visit this Maokai in the top lane. He is the hardest member to kill.
I mean, maybe they're just afraid of Ninja. When you go to gank a Cassiopeia lane and get ulted, things go bad very quickly. And Ninja's been given a lot of space here and a lot of respect by Roll. Maybe not enough respect, actually, because he's just free farming now. 150 CS, 17.5 minutes in. Cassiopeia only gets stronger from this point.
Yeah, it certainly does. And the build he's gone will mean that he scales up nicely into the mid-game. Maybe look for a Rylai's Crystal Scepter to even come out second, making that very tanky frontliner and give STYZ a lot of room to move around this map.
Yeah, Quick Rylai's is just so good on Cassio. It's so good with her kit, but it solves a lot of her problems. She's trying to scale up the passive. She does want to be into the later game as best she can, and Rylai's just does everything you need it to do, and being very cost efficient at doing so.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the best items that comes through, as we actually see maybe going for a Zhonya's Hourglass as a second item, so more of a caster Cassiopeia trying to get that burst damage from her ult and a couple of E's as opposed to that consistent Cassiopeia we sometimes see.
I think Ninja might just be doing the arm guard and then getting Royals. I love this build if that's what he's doing on Cassiopeia. It's super cost efficient. You get your Archangels pretty quickly, and you're able to get very tanky. That armor matters a lot when you're getting aggressive on the front line as Cassio.
Yeah, it certainly does. And the other thing we have to mention is when that, I guess, changes over into the Archangels, the Seraph's Embrace, sorry, armor scales multiplicably with health, and those shields definitely do count towards your effective health pool.
Yep, they do as well. As World Elite getting aggressive here. 3,500 gold in the lead now, so the lead is growing. They're equal on Dragons with Royal as well, and just trying to find a way here. They've definitely picked up their items here to get quite aggressive and, I guess, cover for STYZ while he free farms up the rest of his items on Tristan. He's already accelerated his build, so curious to see what World Elite want to do, but what they're looking to do at least right now is get those outer turrets down and start being much more proactive.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think that they will wait for STYZ to pick up his Infinity Edge before they start a fight. I think he actually has it now, so he's going to back off, grab that one, and from here, they're in the driver's seat for this game. Starhorn Royal Club are the ones that need to force. From now on, World Elite can just coast through to a victory because they've got a very good late-game team comp.
Yeah, Kohler did pick up some items. Cassan will scale up here also. Need to see Large Rod done along with the Rod of Ages, which has been done for a couple of minutes, I think, so probably close to halfway charge there for Kohler at this point. Close to getting there as well. Look at the Bloodthirst will be the second item there for well, so fairly standard stuff to accompany the Hurricane build. And Korn is in a bit of a power slump right now, but he'll power up pretty soon and go for either his Sheen or his Iceborne Gauntlet. Sorry, yeah. Trinity Force or Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yeah, he's sitting on about 1,700 gold, so we'll be looking to pick up the next component relatively soon. Both of the mid laners actually very close on their tiers as well coming through. We just check in. Ninja has actually got about 690. And right behind him on about 680 is Korn.
And you can see what the early conversions for those items does in terms of charging them up. It takes significantly less time when you do get the secondary version of the item. And there's going to be big spikes for both Korn and Ninja. So we'll see if that affects maybe the next big fight, which could be around a Dragon or just around a turret. World Elite, their one goal right now has to be that mid lane turret that's still standing for Royal.
Yeah, and a very admirable job for Royal to be able to defend this one because we mentioned they don't necessarily have the best wave clear coming out apart from that Ezreal that we're seeing repetitively fired down the mid lane.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep this turret up for as long as possible. Dragon's back in a minute 50 or just under, and it is going to be the Trinity Force here for Conso Royal. They've got to hold on for a couple more minutes of farming, but they're going to power up very quickly at about 23 minutes.
Yeah, they certainly are, and also the Boots of the Lucidity to join that as well, getting some cooldown reduction, very much respecting a Luca, I feel, with that pickup. As they're going for an engage.
Yeah, they are going to go in there. Ninja actually does nail the ulti there into Insac, and now STYZ going to move in there. Luca's put it in already, pops the Righteous Glory, goes in onto well, and he just gets eaten by STYZ's damage. Now Korn going to get hopped on as well. He's going to go down as well. Going to get the resets. There's the double. STYZ going back in again. Wants a triple here, and World Elite just wiped the floor with the Royal Club.
Yeah, forcing onto Ninja, gets a good ultimate around on Insect. Nothing else happens there, and the teleport in from Aluka was absolutely massive. They catch out Callista, and this has just been a nightmare from start to finish for Starhorn Royal Club. They've gone for something a little bit, I guess, more difficult to pull off and just been countered at every situation.
I mean, they scaled a little too heavily in this comp. They didn't have the mid-game strength that Royal did in the last game, and STYZ was set up so well. World Elite have played very well around their carries this particular game, and Spirit nailed that flash kick as well.
Yeah, it certainly did. Was able to get in there, and this might actually mean that they pick up a Dragon off the back of it because they're going to get a recall in good time. 30 seconds, they will be able to make it back in time to contest this one.
Yeah, big 2-item power spike done. Oh my god, a BF sword extra for STYZ. Forget about the power trophy for Tristan. STYZ is just all go all the time.
Yeah, he is absolutely massive. Nearly 50 CS in the lead and 4-0-0 compared to a 0-3-0. Yeah, once again, he's the biggest person on the map at the moment.
And STYZ, he hasn't really put on the carry pants like we saw in the preseason from him, but this game is certainly set up to do so in World Elite. Again, when they play together, they look like a much better team, and they're using their carries so effectively. Righteous Glory Malka, by the way, doesn't have the best win rate in the LPL, just off the top of my head. But Luke is definitely making it work with the mid-game choice.
Yeah, and he was able to get his whole team in there. I like it with Cassiopeia. I agree that as a standalone item, it means that Maokai can't really split push and hold waves back. But when you're with a Cassiopeia, able to get her into the middle of the fight is so important.
Yeah, he's going to be the Rylai's for Ninja, it seems like, with a blasting one spare as well. Did finish the arm guard. Seraph's now up as well, so big spike there for Cassio as well. That Dragon went well and truly to World Elite, by the way, who cleanly picked up their second. Kohler seems to be pressuring off screen towards the top. Will take out the tower there in that particular lane, but World Elite are kind of interested in the tier 2 turrets now.
Yeah, and with STYZ powering up nicely the way he is, not going to be much they can do to defend this one. It's going to maybe fall on the next minion wave, and they don't really want to dive onto Ninja. His ult's back up.
No, it doesn't need much more than this. No teleports up anywhere for either top laner as well. So Cola, going to stick in, went back, and now moving in towards the rest of his team. Aluka just casually going to push the waves back in the top side for himself as well. So W4D2 going to continue their rotations, and they're grouping very well now.
Yeah, they definitely are, and this is danger time for Starhorn Royal Club because they need this game to go for another 15 minutes before they can really equalize anything just because of how it's gone. But Cassiopeia takes Baron quicker than anyone in the game, so if they try and stall too much, WorldElite just turn around, take Baron, and siege up.
Yeah, I mean, we just look at the 2-item power spikes here. Really, Triss the only one with enough gold to actually have multiple items. Just that WorldElite might spend a little bit more gold now as well, as we can see. There's a decent amount of gold on some of the members. Most of the AD carries for both teams have that going, but Royal are finishing their next major item, and WorldElite are well and truly on the way to 2 or maybe even 3 items as well.
Yeah, and if we flick across to the gold, there's about a 6,000 gold lead for WorldElite at this point, and 3,000 of that is on the AD carry.
And that's the best place the gold can be. STYZ wanted to have a smooth game here and carry hard, and he's set up to do so on this Triss. So we'll see what the next objective here for WorldElite is like. I like the aggressive vision clearing around the Baron by Royal. They know how easy that Baron could be for WorldElite if they're able to free hit on it. Insect does not get caught. Oh my god, that sweeper was close.
Yeah, that
doesn't reveal champion, sadly.
That was a very close call for Insect there, and looks like now they have complete control over the Baron area. Maybe not tanky enough at this point to take it without taking enough damage, but give it another 5 minutes and they certainly will be.
Yeah, Lucas still finishing his Randuin's there as well, but he's pretty close to having that done. He's going to be real tanky, real fast here in this particular game. Items still coming through for everyone. Trinity Force done for Korn now, so 2 items there for Ezreal. Zondi's done for Cola, the same there for him. And in fact, across the board here for Royal, Wells picked up his 2, but I don't know if it's soon enough here for WorldElite, and they're already onto the Baron.
Yeah, they certainly are, and now Starhorn Royal Club need to respond. They haven't done so soon enough.
The Baron takes way too much damage. Insect gets the bad news. Spirit's going to dive in over the top of him and try and take him out. But Insect actually going to fight his STYZ going aggressive. They want the jungle. He flashes over the Krugs, and now WorldElite a little bit scattered, going to regroup, but no one here from Royal to even contest it. STYZ chases Ranger up towards the top lane and just gets the kill that he wanted.
Yeah, and this is nearly game over. Wow.
Good poke there from Ninja. Good zonies from Cola. Aluka is in the front lane just zoning out both carries. A great wild growth comes in there as well to try and protect well. But no kills yet are going to land in here. Ninja getting low. Cola diving back in, and Korn finally snaps him with the ulti, but well, trying to dive back. That's so many rent stacks onto Aluka, but well, can't quite finish the job. UJ going to look in there as well. Good lantern to save himself. And Kalista is almost dead, and a couple kills there for Royal. That's not too bad.
Yeah, finally able to turn something in their favor. They are 10,000 gold nearly in a hole, though, and the fact that they were able to do that well in a team fight speaks more to the volume that their raw mechanics are coming on display now, and that's, you don't want to win a game off that. They're in a very bad way. Korn will be able to pick up his blue buff for himself, and until they get a couple of last whispers now, they cannot go anywhere near this WorldElite lineup.
No, and Ninja has tricked me, by the way. He's actually going for a quick Rabadons, it seems like. Potentially could go for a Zondis as well. Definitely mixing things up in the build. I can see your face there. You're not too impressed, apparently.
Yeah, he's just trying to get as much raw AP as he can at this point, I think. But what he needs to realize is that there is a lot of damage that still comes out of the Ezreal on someone that doesn't have that much armor. So he needs to be careful that he doesn't blow up and cost his team a team fight. Yeah,
kind of surprised to not see the Rileys, but maybe Ninja just wants to try and get the biggest advantage he can right now. If WorldElite have had issues, it's been, maybe drafting, playing together. Both of those things look a lot better here, but I think closing out games is WorldElite's other thing they've not been that good at.
Yeah, I think that if yesterday taught us anything, it was definitely that they do struggle towards that late game to close these games out. So looking much better this time. Baron buff is definitely going to help in the range on Tristana, and once again, I think this turret has to be given up.
Yep, teleport incoming in. Royal wants to defend here. Insect going to dive in as well. Gets hooked up there by UJ. A great 5-man wild growth comes in, but Ninja just kills the Wrangler even through the Lulu ultimate, and a good kick back there onto Zero. Spirit just wants a free kill for his team. Cola coming in with his Zonies. Lulu's still alive. Actually got Kalista ulti back, and Ninja going to go down there to Cola way now, trying to do the damage, but STYZ is massive on this Triss.
Yeah, STYZ is the saving grace here. 7-0-1. able to put his team on his back, will be able to pick up a turret, and everything went right there for Starhorn Royal Club, but they're just not tanky enough.
Yeah, and Tristana just far too massive. Had the bloodthirst to finish for that fight. 7-0-1 is World Elite's carry player. 256 CS in 20 minutes. Tristana's shoulder's going to be pretty sore after this game, but World Elite looking to close it out.
Yeah, definitely going to wake up sore tomorrow morning is STYZ, but he looks like he has nearly done the miracle of being able to carry his team through this one. Still, if these last whispers can come through, I am very worried what is happening in these team fights, because the tankier Rengar gets, the more of the ability to get that more 5-man knockups that we saw twice in that team fight, the Wild Growth and then the Kalista ultimate coming through. These games can really spin on a dime. We've seen it happen, and they're getting towards that point where they'll start once again being able to do damage.
And SDYZ would hate to lose a game where he was this far ahead. Looks like Ninja, by the way, did go for a Zhonya's as his next item. So still has a blasting one for either Void Stuff or Rylai's, depending on where he wants to go. And a very safe build here from Ninja, which I guess is what I should have expected. Third Dragon as well does go to World Elite. So looking strong here about 29 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and Zhonya's is a much better pickup, because we did see that he took a lot of upfront burst damage in that fight. I think that you can never underestimate how much damage Ezreal's ult does if it doesn't hit minions. It just does so much, and he was definitely frontlining that fight. Did maybe overcommit for it, because SDYZ was getting a lot of free auto attacks off, but in the end it will be a good build and keep him alive for a lot longer. I
mean, the other thing as well with Cassio, she's such a short range mage that you need some sort of defensive stat, whether it's the health from the Rylai's and the ability to control more with other slows, or just the Zhonya's to purely say, no, I don't want to get targeted for a few seconds. You need something as Cassiopeia, because when you do damage, you got to get really far into the enemy team.
Yeah, and the other thing about Zhonya's against the double AD comp is because of how consistent the damage is, you can really time it to bait people into attacking you, especially because there's no crit on this lineup yet. There's only maybe the Trinity Force, and that doesn't give that much. So you can kind of ride through the auto attacks, make people commit, and then pop the Zhonya's, let the team clean up.
I think World Elite, from what I want to see from them, you know, they've done a lot here to impress everyone here. They've played a very solid game. The early games across the board have looked really strong. But again, if it's one thing that looks a little shaky, it is the late game. And World Elite, if they're going to do anything in this game, just close it out cleanly. Your Trist is so fed.
Yeah, exactly right. And level 14 can hit those turrets pretty much unharassed unless they get another big engage with the Rengar in there. They just need to, as exactly what you said, rotate around the map, get waves pushing in their favor, and try and close this one out.
Yeah, we do pop back into the game. World Elite looking to close this one out here. Do have 3 Dragons. Just got it before the pause. And that's going to give actually really strong stats to Cassiopeia and Tristana especially.
Yeah, it definitely is. And they've done exactly as we've asked. They're grouped in the bottom lane, looking to take down another turret. Maokai will go push out the top lane, but has the teleport available so can join whenever he would like.
Yeah, and again, another Frozen Heart here spawn. Seems to be very popular among the top laners today.
Yeah, it certainly is. I don't mind it so much against a Kalista who does rely on that attack speed to get things going. But once again, it's one of those items that it's a really good item, and cooldown reduction is key on Maokai. I just think that they undervalue Randuin and Omen a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Randuin's coming through presumably for Aluka as well as his next item, although no, that's not how that works. Not anymore. It could be a Sunfire then? That would be not very exciting.
No, it wouldn't be very exciting. Maybe a Thornmail coming through for Aluka, just trying to deal with the double auto attack damage carries coming through, and he's really pushed that lane up a lot quicker than I would expect. Those levels really coming up big for Aluka at this point, and maybe even looking for a pick on Cola.
It's funny that you mentioned the Thornmail as well, because we've seen this build today already, I think. I don't remember who did it, but we've seen the Frozen Heart Thornmail marker already. In fact, Aluka's going to dive in, gets a big W there to follow through. He's pretty tanky, taking a reasonable amount of damage. Korn getting very low there. SDYZ going straight in and out with the reset.
Yeah, I'm sure Zero would have loved to have Polymorph there, because that could have really thrown a chink in the mail there. Aluka tanky enough to go that deep, forcing into the base. That will mean the first turret, and I don't think they can fight here.
It solves all of the armor that Aluka clearly wanted here as well. Very tanky on this Maokai. And World Elite have got plenty of damage here to follow. And Tristana's level 15, so good range there with the draw bead passive. And the inhibitor's going down. World Elite just cannot defend.
Yeah, they could do anything at this point in the game. Still probably win, as Cola going a little bit aggressive, but they're just that much stronger at this point. 10,000, 11,000 gold ahead. They'll be able to rotate, probably pick up a Baron after this. Unless something goes seriously wrong, and it nearly did go seriously wrong then, and it still looked completely fine. Starhorn Royal Club just too far behind.
And SDYZ has ascended to maybe close to his final form here. Last Whisper is done for the Triss. So I mean, it's what, level 18, and maybe if you want to get greedy, another item away to get really strong. But SDYZ, he had a fantastic early game. His team led him so, and he played it fantastically in the 2v2 where he needed to, despite getting down early, and he's been rewarded here. He is so strong on this Tristana.
Yeah, and I guess he's a beneficiary of a lot of good plays from UJ early. He was able to land some clutch hooks. It's 0-0-9, perfect support play coming out here from UJ. STYZ had a fantastic solo game last time round, and this time was joined by one member, and it was probably enough. Yeah,
credit to Ninja as well. Has played a decent Cassiopeia game here as well. Been much more proactive, much more playmaking here as well. And this is my favorite thing about Cassiopeia, I think, is that when you get ahead and start sieging objectives, no one ever wants to fight you because of Cassio ult.
Yeah, exactly right. It's just so hard to engage onto a Cassio ult. We talk about putting together a good team fight, but then also being able to re-engage, and Cassiopeia really does give you those tools.
It just stymies any sort of aggression. And Wardley, it's going to hang around the Baron pit. True Top Raj will actually launch in there, does find Spirit, so they know the Baron's being contested. Teleport coming in from Aluka, that's a good spot there for that. They're going to try and clean the Baron. Insect does steal a wild growth and flashes out, but now Wardley are going to try and get him for the kill. They'll take the kills if they can get a Callisto, although steals 0 away. And Insect may have gotten away with that. Oh my god.
Yeah, how did they pull that off without losing anyone? Starhorn Royal Club coming up with the clutch play, and it's all off the back of their jungler. Insect not having a great game, but that nearly makes up for it.
Yeah, Waddle's vision was pretty strong around the Baron. Maybe not the deep ones they would have wanted towards the sides of the blue buff, but Waddle got very greedy to commit to a 50-50.
Yeah, they definitely did commit to the 50-50, and they had Aluka behind the enemy team. If they had it just peeled off, they would have been able to force a fight. In the end, Insect gets in and out. Nice drive by Steel.
Yeah, really nice. Then we'll see it again.
Yeah, so he just runs in here. He has, he doesn't even have the Lulu speed up. Gets it on the way out, actually, I believe, and just able to throw a couple of bowlers behind him. So really nicely played.
Yeah, I mean, Royal going to stay in this game, though. You said that, silly things would have to happen, and that was arguably a silly thing there. Things are going very well for Wardley, except for the end of this game, and a few things have gone wrong. Wardley haven't been heavily punished yet for that happening, but if this game, in 10 minutes' time, if that's still happening to World Elite, they're going to lose a lot more than just a Baron buff.
Yeah, definitely agree, and the problem here is that STYZ, he's nearly got 6 items. He's not getting any stronger apart from that passive, whereas you look over the other side of the rift, and you cannot say the same for Callista. Now picked up the Last Whisper on both carries, going to be doing a lot more damage coming through. Maybe a couple of Blade of the Ruined Kings to be finished up, but after that, they're in a pretty good spot.
And we'll see what Roy can do there. He's just to hold on for a little while longer. I think about 10 more minutes is the time where we look back and see that the goal difference probably doesn't mean as much as it does now. Woodley's still got a very strong lead, and Royal have almost no towers to speak of, but the goal difference at this point is just most of those structures, and apart from the fact that, you need to get to the Nexus and win the game, the structures aren't that important right now.
Yeah, they definitely aren't, and the scary thing is there's so many more on the side of Starhorn Royal Club that now that they've got this Baron buff, if they can just pick up 1 or 2 cheeky turrets, they start clawing this gold lead back in their favor.
They do as well. STYs are going to clear out the minions very efficiently there on Triss level 16, so almost up to that max range there as well. Spirit looking for initiation. I like that he's being aggressive around the flank, trying to kick somebody in. He's had some great kicks so far. That's a good hook onto Cola, but they won't follow it in. Spirit just cues in for a bit of a message. And Royal will continue their siege with the Baron buff.
Yeah, so they're trying to trade a Dragon here for as much map pressure as they can get. Actually, Insect going in. This might be a dangerous fight.
This still, they don't really want the 4 Dragons important. They do take him at Waterloo. Get turned in. Cola gets hooked up. Aluka goes on top as well. The Zonies and the Wild Growth just enough to save him, but Cola looks dead and is. STYZ goes in. The ult goes wide there, but well gets hooked up there as well. Now Zero going to get chased down and can't get Callisto ulted. STYZ going nuts in the back line. Korn has nowhere really good to run. No one's even chasing him anyway. Waterloo, 3 clean kills.
Yeah, and that's just a horrible play coming out of Starhorn Royal Club. They did not have to fight that at all. Was not the 5th Dragon. Had a Baron buff to be able to maybe take a couple of turrets for. They've just given away what little hope they had. It was only a tiny bit of false hope, but World Elite probably going to be able to push in for a win.
I mean, they'll push in aggressively here. They'll see what they can take. Death time is still fairly low at this stage of the game, so not going to go in for it yet. 10 seconds left on Well and Cola. Zero back in 5 there as well, and he will go back down, so nicely timed push there from World Elite. Can't get too much more. Side over in the top actually pushing very aggressively in Royal's favor there as well. But the 5th Dragon now is the threat. Royal Club have no dragons left to give away.
Yeah, they certainly don't. I really have to question what Aluka was doing there. He has a Thornmail, a Frozen Heart, and a Giant Alliance belt and didn't want to even tank up one of the Nexus turrets. Probably could have got a little bit more for that one, but they are setting up a pick.
This is pretty adorable here for W4D Elite. They know how strong they are. Aluka pops the Righteous Glory. Who's the target? It's Cola getting jumped on. Their Spirit's going to follow in there as well. STYZ going straight in with the rocket jump. The Lantern is actually not enough, but the Buster Shot, I think, saved Cola there in combination with the Wild Growth.
Yeah, certainly able to get back over that wall with the flash, so good job there. Insec actually deciding that he wants to split push top lane, actually now recalling, so doesn't want to give anything away. And once again, Ninja is so squishy. That was one Q and an ultimate, and he's at half health.
I mean, Insect's kind of playing around here, counter jungling, just trying to get something going here and kind of taunt W4D Elite out from the mid. STYZ is actually going to find his own buff. Might see Insect as well, but does not want to chase in there. And W4D Elite, they're going to go back and spend some of their gold. They might try and wait it out to the last Dragon here to really win, because they are playing very scared for a team that's this far ahead.
Yeah, they definitely are, and it's almost baiting Starhorn Royal Club into trying to take fights that they just shouldn't be taking at this point in the game. It's kind of a crazy game to watch because Starhorn Royal Club don't have an off button. We'd say that about Insec a lot. Just continues to go in. It's almost like someone headbutting a wall repetitively trying to break through, and you know, one of these days he's going to crack through.
He is. He absolutely is, and has those moments certainly when he plays every now and then. W4D Elite looking maybe to the next Baron. That's a minute 50 away. They could probably just pressure some of these side lanes. Their side wave control, by the way, probably not been ideal.
Yeah, it definitely has not been. And if you're able to send two people bot lane that far out and there's just no ward coverage to really catch people, and there's not really even that much pressure being put anywhere on the map, it's definitely not great in that position. They really need to get the bottom lanes pushing. I guess the fact that there's still a turret down, the first tier turret this late in the game, is a very big blessing because it means they haven't been punished for how poor their side lane control has been.
I mean, W4D Elite have just been playing so far forward for the last 10-20 minutes or so that they've really just not lost a whole lot here, but they've struggled to close out this game here, and if they do it, that'll be great. They'll take the point, but as W4D Elite play more and more, they seem to tighten up and clean their play up here, but this last 50 minutes have been a little bit sloppy.
Yeah, and now finally Starhorn Royal Club probably have to go right now. They can't afford to let two inhibitors go down, but looks like they're just giving this one up.
I mean, they can't fight STYZ, using the Thresh Lantern very well there to try and make sure they can run defense and keep the Trist in a good place. Kohler going to go in. That's a great zone. He's there for Ninja. STYZ going to come in as well. And they'll just try and get Kohler. He does not get flayed, but he's going to go absolutely low. There's Ninja now going to dive in onto Zero. Good Callisto. It's going to keep him safe. Insecto dives in. Gets ulted by the Cassiopeia. And that's the double kill actually for Ninja. Now Korn in trouble. STYZ going absolutely deep there. Zero, going to get obliterated. Well, going to be the last kill here as well. Tristana firing on all cylinders, and W4D Elite will finally clean out the game.
Yeah, and what a game from STYZ. 11-0-6. Doing work in the back line the whole way through. UJ, his support, 1-0-15. Those two guys, 16 of 19 kills, have been absolutely fantastic this game.
Yeah, and the W4D Elite bottom lane does it big here. Took them a little while longer than they'd like, but they claim the game 2 and the point they want there as well. So W4D Elite starting to pick up some momentum, but it almost feels like every game something new happens where they have to just be like, man, I got to deal with this now.
Yeah, and they won't be happy because they don't have any form of consistency. You just see it even throughout an individual game. Moments of brilliance where they come up absolutely huge, but then some absolutely shocking plays. And I guess the same could be said across the map. Royal Club really look confused at times.
And I mean, these are sort of the two most inconsistent teams, so I guess it's funny that we had a split, given that both these teams, I guess Royal at least, haven't had that many splits going, but we do have a replay from the game as well, so let's check out some of the gameplay.
Yeah, so if we just see, this is the last team fight, and WorLd Elite just bully their way into the base. Maybe left it a little bit too late to go, and Kohler thinks he sees an entrance onto Ninja, but that's just a fantastic bait getting the Zhonya's Hourglass. From here, Aluka's too tanky, STYZ does too much damage, and they just clean up the whole fight. Aluka literally is sitting in between two AD carries at this point, taking no damage, and really well played in the end by STYZ in the top laner, but they took a long time to get there.
They really did, and that was the thing for me that maybe was a bit awkward for WorLd Elite. They've had really strong moments. They've had great early games, almost across the board in the last 2 weeks at least, but man, do they look a bit sloppy sometimes when they're trying to close out these games, and that's not going to win them games, especially against top teams.
Yeah, they need to shore up their vision control. They need to shore up their side lanes, but overall, I guess they will take the point, and they're starting to turn it around.
Yeah, they'll absolutely take it. With that, we're done for day 2 of the English coverage of the LPL. It's been a fantastic day as always. On behalf of myself, Spawn, Atlas, and Papa Smithy,